Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about the movie Cast Away. So, get ready, turn up your volume, and be warned. There are spoilers ahead. The movie begins with a FedEx package being delivered to a man. There's a picture of angel wings on the box. The man says it's from his wife, but we can see he's actually with another woman. Now let's meet our main character, Chuck Noland. He works as a systems analyst executive at FedEx and takes his job very seriously. He often travels to different countries for work. Right now, he's in Russia to help improve how things work at the FedEx hub there. To test the system, Chuck sends a package from Memphis, USA, to Nikolai, Russia, using someone's home as the delivery address. A young boy from that house runs with the package to the FedEx hub and gives it to Chuck. Chuck opens it and finds a clock inside. The clock was set to start at 0 when it was shipped. By the time it arrived, it showed 87 hours, 22 minutes, and 17 seconds. For Chuck, that's way too slow. He believes packages should be delivered much faster. Chuck is a man who lives by the clock. Time is very important to him. He wants everything to happen right on schedule. Even with all the stress of his job, Chuck has been in a long-term relationship with his girlfriend, Kelly. While in Russia, Chuck calls Kelly to tell her he'll be back home in Memphis in about 18 hours. When Chuck returns to the U.S., he meets up with Kelly. They clearly care about each other a lot. Later, they go together to the Noland family Christmas dinner. During the dinner, Chuck's brother jokes about them getting married. Chuck and Kelly laugh it off and don't give a serious answer. While eating, Chuck feels a toothache and realizes he probably needs to see a dentist. Then, he gets a message on his pager. Kelly looks at him, and they both know what that means. He has to leave for work again, even though it's the holiday season. But because Chuck is so dedicated to his job, he decides to go. Kelly understands Chuck's busy work life and tries to adjust. She asks him to please come back before New Year's Eve, and Chuck promises he will. At the airport, Kelly gives Chuck an old watch that belonged to her family. It's her Christmas gift to him. Chuck is deeply touched by her thoughtful present. Before leaving, he gives Kelly a small box. She thinks it might be a ring, but Chuck tells her not to open it yet. He says they'll open it together on New Year's Eve when he gets back. Then, Chuck heads off to catch his flight. Chuck boards a FedEx plane with 4 crew members, heading to Malaysia. A few hours into the flight, they fly into a storm. Chuck overhears the pilots saying they've lost contact with air traffic control. Then, something explodes on the plane, and strong turbulence shakes everything. The plane starts to go out of control. One of the pilots tries to help Chuck get to his seat, but hits his head badly during the chaos. Chuck sees the ocean getting closer and closer. The plane crashes into the Pacific Ocean. Water rushes into the aircraft, and Chuck starts to sink. Luckily, he grabs hold of an emergency inflatable raft that one of the pilots gave him. He uses it to float back up, but the storm is strong, and big waves hit him from all sides. It becomes a fight for survival. Somehow Chuck makes it through the night and ends up on the shore of a deserted island. The raft barely saved his life. When he gets out of the raft, he realizes he still has the watch Kelly gave him. On the beach, Chuck also finds a few FedEx packages that washed up from the crash. He collects them and looks around. There's no sign of any other land or people. He's completely alone. Chuck writes a huge help sign on the sand, hoping a plane will see it. He looks at Kelly's watch again. That night, his first day on the island ends. The next morning, Chuck finds more FedEx boxes. He also discovers coconuts, which he uses to drink water and stay hydrated. As he explores the island, he finds a cave that could give him shelter. He climbs up to the top of a cliff to get a better view. From up high, he spots something floating in the water. He climbs down quickly to check. To his shock, it's the dead body of the pilot who tried to save him. Chuck feels sad but stays strong. He digs a grave and gently lays the pilot's body to rest. It's his way of saying, thank you. That night, Chuck still has no way off the island. His second day ends. As the night gets quiet, he stares at the photo of Kelly inside the watch, thinking of her. On the third night, he suddenly spots a ship far out at sea. Chuck starts yelling for help when he sees the ship, but it's too far. His voice doesn't reach. He flashes a small torch at the ship, hoping someone might notice, but that doesn't work either. Trying to save himself, he quickly packs up a few things and gets on the damaged raft, hoping to reach the ship. But the ocean waves are too strong. The raft flips, and Chuck is thrown into the water. As he struggles, his leg gets cut by a coral reef, and he screams in pain. Defeated and hurt, Chuck swims back to the island. As soon as he returns, it starts raining heavily. To protect himself, he goes inside the cave he found earlier. Inside, he discovers a small stream of fresh water and drinks from it. He's completely exhausted from the day and soon falls asleep. His small torch dies out, and everything goes dark. The next morning, Chuck begins to open the FedEx packages he found, hoping to find something useful. In one of them, he finds a volleyball. In another, there's a pair of ice skating boots and a dress. He uses the blade from the boot to cut open coconuts more easily. The dress helps him catch small fish from the shore. Chuck opens all the packages, except one. That one has the angel wings sticker on it. He decides to keep it sealed, using it as a reason to stay alive. He tells himself he'll one day deliver it to the person it belongs to. Chuck builds a small tent using parts from the packages. Then, he tries to make fire. He keeps trying for hours, but just can't do it. He even hurts his hands while trying. At one point, he gets so frustrated that he screams and throws everything around him. After a few minutes, he notices that his bloody handprint has left a mark on the volleyball. He draws a face on it, sets it in front of him, and starts talking to it, just so he doesn't feel alone. He gives the ball a name, Wilson, since it was made by Wilson Company. Not long after, Chuck finally manages to start a fire. He gets excited and dances around it, feeling proud and happy. He cooks a crab, eats it, and chats with Wilson while doing so. For the first time, things seem a little better. The next day, Chuck feels intense tooth pain. With no dentist on the island, he uses the skating boot and a rock to knock the bad tooth out. The pain is so much that he passes out. Time passes. It's now been 4 years since Chuck got stuck on the island. He looks very different. His hair and beard have grown long, and his body is thinner and rougher. Wilson has also changed over time. But in these 4 years, Wilson has become Chuck's closest companion. In fact, Wilson is one of the main reasons Chuck has managed to stay sane and keep going. One night, while Chuck is sleeping inside the cave, he hears a strange sound outside. He steps out to check and finds a broken piece of a plastic door washed up on the beach. Chuck brings it back with him to the cave. He keeps looking at the broken plastic, thinking deeply. Then, an idea hits him. He figures out that this piece can help him escape the island. Chuck has been tracking time using a calendar he made himself. It's now February, and he tells Wilson that they will try to escape in April, when the sea waves will be more calm and in their favor. So, Chuck has about 2 months to prepare. He begins building a raft using wooden logs he gathers from the island. To hold the logs together, he makes ropes out of tree bark. When he runs out of bark, he uses the film from old cassette tapes to tie the rest of the wood. But he still needs more rope, so Chuck climbs to the top of the island, to a place he had once considered using to end his life when things were at their worst. But he didn't give up back then, and now he uses the rope he had saved to complete the raft. He attaches the plastic door as a kind of sail, which he hopes will help the raft move better on the sea. Finally, the day arrives. Before leaving, Chuck writes a message on a rock near the shore. Then, he loads Wilson onto the raft, climbs in, and starts to row. The waves are strong, but he pushes through with everything he has. He fights hard to keep the raft steady. After making it through the worst of the waves, Chuck feels a little hopeful. He thinks maybe the hardest part is now over. He spends several days floating at sea, believing the raft will take him back home. But things are about to get worse. He has no clean water and no food, so Chuck starts to collect rainwater in the raft and catches small fish to eat. Then one night, a big storm hits again. The wind and rain are very strong. Chuck holds onto the raft tightly, trying not to get thrown off. When morning comes, the storm is over, but the raft is badly damaged. Even worse, Wilson is gone. Chuck starts yelling for Wilson. That ball had been his only friend for 4 years, and now it's missing. He looks around and finally spots Wilson floating in the water far from the raft. Chuck jumps into the ocean, swimming as fast as he can to get to Wilson. With one hand, he reaches out to the ball. With the other hand, he tries to hold on to the raft's rope. But the rope slips away, and he has to let go of Wilson to catch it again. While he struggles with the rope, Wilson drifts farther and farther into the ocean. Chuck desperately swims after him, but no matter how hard he tries, he just can't reach Wilson. In the end, Chuck realizes that Wilson is truly gone. He yells out in pain, crying over the loss of the only friend he had during his 4 long years alone. The raft is damaged, Wilson is lost, and Chuck has no hope left. He becomes weak and sick, unable to move much. Just then, a whale sprays water nearby, and Chuck opens his eyes. Behind him, he sees something unbelievable, a huge cargo ship sailing by. 4 weeks later, Chuck is on a flight back home, ready to see his loved ones again. His close friend tells him that everyone believed he had died, and even held a funeral for him. After landing, Chuck meets a man he doesn't recognize at first. The man introduces himself as Kelly's husband. He gently explains that Kelly was too overwhelmed and emotional to come see Chuck herself. Chuck stands there in silence, heartbroken. The woman he held onto in his heart all those years on the island had moved on and married someone else. Later, Chuck's friends and family throw a party to celebrate that he's alive. But when everyone leaves, Chuck quietly stares at a lobster, which reminds him of the crabs he had to eat to survive. He looks at a lighter, thinking about the struggle to make fire. He can't even bring himself to sleep in a bed, so he lies on the floor, staring at the old pocket watch Kelly gave him. Still needing closure, Chuck takes a taxi to Kelly's house. Just as he reaches the door and is about to knock, Kelly opens it. Before Chuck can say a word, she hugs him tightly. Chuck gives her back the watch she once gifted him, and Kelly is shocked that he still had it. Since it was a family heirloom, Chuck wants her to keep it. Kelly then shows Chuck that she had kept his old car all these years. She hands him the keys, and Chuck gets in. As he's about to leave, they share a kiss, but Kelly pulls away. Chuck drives off, but then Kelly calls out to him and runs toward the car. Chuck stops, gets out, and they kiss again. Kelly tells him that although she had to move on after 4 years of not knowing, she never stopped loving him. Chuck replies that he still loves her too, but deep down, both of them know it's too late now. Kelly has a new family, and Chuck has been changed forever. So, with heavy hearts, they decide to say goodbye. In the final scene, Chuck is back on the road, driving again. He has chosen to deliver the unopened package that he had held on to for hope on the island. He stops at a quiet home, but no one is there. So he leaves the package at the door, writing a message. "This package saved my life. Thank you, Chuck Nolan." As he drives away, Chuck stops to look at a map, unsure of where to go next. At that moment, a woman in a pickup truck stops and asks if he needs help. Chuck asks which direction the road goes. The woman tells him, smiles, and drives off. As she leaves, Chuck notices something familiar on her truck. The same angel wing sticker that was on the unopened package he had kept for all those years. Yes, it belonged to her. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos. See you in the next one.